Hello and welcome to The Powerful Pregnancy. My name is Jane Wake. I'm the creator of this program. I'm a fitness expert and I've been working in the pre and postnatal field for over 15 years. Now today's workout is around 20 minutes. It's a Pilates and stretch lengthening workout. And the girls who I'm working with at the moment are between 18 to 23 weeks in their pregnancy. Now you could work with this in any part of your second trimester. It will be absolutely fine. But it is at that point where we start to need a few adaptations. So you'll see those adaptations there, which are there for you to use. Now all you need is a mat. You may need some kind of cushion or towel to use as a prop. Make sure you've got comfy clothing to wear, some water handy, and then you're set and ready to go. Hello, welcome to this Pilates workout, antenatal Pilates workout. We're doing this because sometimes it's just really good to connect your core and stretch a little bit more. But we need to get the body warmed up, so we're going to do that now, guys. So we'll just start with some rocking the babies, as we tend to do, because we love this move. I love this move. And I'll tell you why this movement is so good. Is because it helps to release tension in the back of the hips. It's generally warming the body up. And do you know what? It's really good to just gently rock, to move your body in pregnancy. It's why we recommend using the balls to sit on, because it enables you to gently rock. One of the things that's not good for your body is to stop dead, to stay still. So you can do this anytime, when you're standing at a bus stop, when you're on the phone. Just do rocking the babies. It's a great movement to do, and you can just allow your arms to swing. Obviously, you could rock a baby. You're rocking your babies inside your tummies at the moment. But it's just a lovely move to do. And it's great to do actually in labour as well. It's a nice movement to do then as well. So it's good preparation for labour. Okay, so what we're going to do now though is just focus on our core. We're going to take one hand onto the chest and one hand onto the abdomen. Take a nice big deep breath for me. Inhale. Exhale and relax. Find your pelvic floor by drawing up through the core of the feet. Scoop up from the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly. Think about your head positioning by getting length at the back of the neck, bringing the chin in and sliding the shoulder blades down so you feel that length in your neck. Do that for me again. Take a nice big deep breath. Inhale. Exhale, relax. Lift up through from the back of the pelvic floor into the front and into your belly. Think of the pubic bone and the tailbone drawing in together and pulling up inside you, like a peg being closed and drawing up and in. It's really important to do long, slow breaths and relax with that as you do that. So do that for me one more time. Take a nice big deep breath. Exhale, relax. And then lift up through from the back to the front of the pelvic floor and into your belly. Now we're going to do some foot pedals. So we're going to take the right heel off the floor and then just alternate from the right to the left and put both hands onto your bump now. And just think about that core connection as you do your foot pedal. Let's slow them down a little bit so that you can really lift up through. And in terms of the amount of lift you want in your pelvic floor, we want to come up to about second to third floor. So you can go up to 5 floors. So second to third floor is about halfway of your effort. So you're around 40 to 50% of your effort. So you're just trying to feel that little bit of core control. So stop a fart, stop a wee, lift up a little bit, and then just hold it there. Now at this level, you should be able to sustain it and hold it for quite some time. So it should stay with you as you're just moving your feet. Anybody feel that can't feel it? That holding?
I can up to second.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so second is all, that's as far as you need to go. Second is fine, yep. So that's maybe second floor is more like 30 to 40% of your effort. And that is absolutely fine. That's where you need to be. Now, peel your right foot all the way off the floor and let's do some little foot circles because we need to keep these feet moving and we need to really warm those ankles up. It's really important for your circulation. So just do a little few circles a couple of times each way. Now take the leg back behind. Now you can keep your foot on the floor, extend your leg back behind. Lift up through your pelvic floor and into your belly. And if you're finding this quite easy, you can take the opposite hand up, work the shoulder blades down, lift into your center, and try not to lean into your left side. She says, I'm wobbling here. No one else is, it's just me. And you want to bring that right hip forward a little bit as you're doing that. Work the shoulders down, apple under your chin, and then change sides. So rise and fall through the feet, peel the left foot off the floor this time, come up with the left foot, and just circle your foot around. a couple of times each way. And then we're going to take that leg back behind, squeeze into the buttocks, take the opposite hand up, lengthen your arms in one direction and your legs in the other, bring that chin in. So think of that apple under your chin. Keep lengthening through, keep lifting through your center, and then release and change. Now we're going to do the same thing again, but this time we'll take the foot back into a calf stretch position. So peel the right foot off the floor, circle the ankle around. We'll go into our balanced position. So you're going to take your leg back behind you, squeeze your bottom, take the opposite hand up. Think about that apple under your chin, lift into your center. But this time we're going to take the right leg back behind. Now let's do a little bit of release on the calf. So taking the leg up and down, releasing the calf muscles. But then we're going to hold the leg down. Now, we've done bow and arrow movements before. We're going to change our upper body movement. We're going to go a little bit bigger with our upper body. So this is going to make it a bit tougher. So I want you to squeeze your right buttock, lift up through your pelvic floor and into your belly. If you are struggling to feel your pelvic floor, just take your back leg in a little bit so you're in a slightly narrower stance. Lifting through your center, squeeze your buttock, and then we're going to start off with a little small movement with the right shoulder. Just circling the right shoulder through. So we're starting small. Now I want you to put your left hand onto your sternum. That's the middle of your breastplate, so right in the middle of your chest. And I want you to think about not allowing your sternum to move. Now all the while you're doing this, I want you to think about that lift up through your pelvic floor and into your belly. And you're using your core muscles, your pelvic floor and your core muscles, that kind of 20 to 30%. So you're somewhere around there. You're just trying to feel that core. Now start to take your elbow, and it's like a floppy arm. You're leading with your elbow coming back. Now, do you feel that sternum starting to try and move as you do that? Yeah? So I want you to re-engage your core a little bit more and try and keep that sternum still. You're kind of slightly pulling it back with the left hand. Does that make sense? So you feel an openness coming through your chest. Now take your elbow up higher and then start to reach your arm back behind you. Circle it back. And now you should feel a lovely stretch. Should feel good. But can you still feel your core? There's so much to think about. It's a bit like patting your tummy and patting your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time. That old trick. Okay, go for one more. And really, actually do one more and really stretch it back. And then release. Yeah, feel okay? The arm fatigues a little bit from doing that, doesn't it? Okay, now peel the left foot off the floor. Hold and balance. Circle your foot around. Couple of times each way. Take the leg back behind, squeeze into your buttocks. Opposite hand can go up. Remember, you can keep the foot on the floor. Just bring that hip forward so that your hips are nice and level. Bring your chin in, apple under your chin, work the shoulder blades down, lift up through your core. Stop a fart stopper. We lift into your belly and then place the foot down. And let's just do a little bit of release on the calf. So lifting and lowering. And then warming those calf muscles up a little bit. And then hold your heel down. Squeeze into your buttock on the back leg, but scoop up from the back of the pelvic floor into your belly. Remember, the wider the stance, the more stretch you're getting your calf, but also the harder it is to control your core. So you go where you feel you are in control of your core. 20 to 30% of your effort. So that's anything around second to third floor, the lift in your pelvic floor. Right hand goes onto your sternum, and you're just going to start by, it's like you're scribing a little circle backwards with the outside part of your shoulder. Just going backwards. Oh, my shoulder's clicking on this side. Anybody else's? You clicked on your right, yeah? Okay, so it's good to do this because we're just doing little small movements to really warm that shoulder joint up. It's just tendons rubbing against tendons. Your shoulder joint's really complex. There's around 24 muscle, I get that number wrong, so it's around 24, between 22 and 24 muscle attachment sites around the shoulder joint. So that means you have a huge number of tendons going through there. It's often why having tight shoulders is a real problem, and why you get something called shoulder impingement is because all those tendons get squashed when your shoulders are tight. So that's why it's really important to open the shoulder joint out. Now you guys are at an advantage because particularly at this stage of your pregnancy, the hormones are racing through and it's opening the joints out a little bit. So you should have a bit more space in your joints. But if you're spending a lot of time working at a desk and you're shortening here, that's why it's so important to do these movements. Now start to take the elbow up. Now lift up through your pelvic floor and into your belly. Hopefully the clicking starts to go away a little bit. Okay, now lead with that elbow and then keep leading with it, and then start to straighten your arm up and pull back. Now keep that sternum still, pull it back with your right hand a little bit and lift in through your core. And do you see how important your core muscles are to actually enabling you to stretch out that chest wall? Because if you're not controlling here, and then you won't get that length in your shoulder joint. Okay, go for one more and then release it. Well done. Okay, and just shake the arms up. It's a little bit of a workout for your upper body, that. Let's go back into our rocking the baby. Now, if you were doing that action and you did feel any pain in your shoulder, lessen the action. Don't ever work into pain, because we've actually just really done a lot of positive opening in the shoulder joint. Don't let it become a negative. If it doesn't feel right, stop what you're doing and just ease off a little bit. Everybody feel okay? Yeah? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do our balancing and lunging down to get down to the floor. So this is practical, functional movement to get down to the floor. So we're going to peel the right foot off the floor again, just rotate the ankle around, but then we're going to go into a lunge position. We're going to take the right leg back behind, come into a lunge, bend the back knee, and squeeze the buttock underneath. Open through the chest and come up, and then we're going to lower to the floor, but we're going to switch legs as we lower down. Now, we haven't got our blocks underneath our knees, so I want you all to lower very gently to the floor. So lower down, okay? Everybody's knees okay? If you do feel any pain on your knees, make sure you put something underneath your knees, and then we're just going to change legs. Okay, so curl your toes out underneath the back leg. Now, you can put your hands onto your thigh if you need to. I would like you to try and do it without putting your hands onto your thighs. If you find this too much, you can always use a chair or something else as well to help you lift and lower. If you couldn't go down to the floor first time, do not worry about it. But make this an aim and a goal for you to be able to try and get down to the floor. If you've got your sofa there, you can use that to lift up as well. So, bend have the ball of your foot in touch with the floor on the back leg, so curl your toes underneath, lift up through the pelvic floor into your belly, push through the front heel to lift up and come back up. Okay, you all right? It's hard. Isn't that really, really hard? It's so hard to do. Let's just release the legs, and actually what I'm going to get you guys to do is to grab your blocks now. So this is what I'm going to say to you. If you couldn't do that at all, you found that absolutely impossible, what I'm saying to you is you can do it if you work on it. Work on leg strength, work on mobility, stick with us in all these movements, and I'll guarantee you, despite you getting more and more pregnant, you will be able to do that, because it's all about generating more length in the muscles, more strength in the muscles, and then stick with us and we will get you being able to do that. And also remember to comment and tell us whether you could do it or not and what any problems that you get. So this time we're going to lower down with the left leg back behind, but we've got our blocks there so we can soften it for our knees a little bit. So lift up through. Remember, you can use a chair or something to help support you as you go down. Take a breath, use your core muscles, and then lower down onto your block, knee down onto your block, and then release it. Well done. Okay, so we're going to come down onto our on all fours position now. Now, when you go into an on all fours position, you might find that you need to use blocks underneath your hands to soften. Now, I say blocks, you can be using a towel at home, or if you find that too much, you can come onto your knuckles and do that instead. I want the knees to be in line with the hips and the hands to be in line with the shoulders. And all I want you to do here is just move forwards and backwards. Now, as you're moving forwards and backwards, you want to make sure that your back is in a neutral line. So for neutral line, I'm going to ask Jana, you to just lift your tailbone ever so slightly. That's it. And then bring your head down and look down just above your fingertips. Bring your head down a little bit more. And now engage your core. Now, what happens when you engage your core muscles is it tends to lessen the arch in your lower back. So that's why your core muscles are so important to work. Sophie, I'm going to ask you to bring your head up a little bit, bring your chin back towards your neck a little bit more, and then again, engage your core. So lift up through your core as you're doing this. Aditi, I want you to soften your elbows a little bit. Now, Aditi has really flexible joints, particularly over her knees and her elbows. So sometimes less is a little bit more. So overextending the elbow joint, particularly in pregnancy, is not a great thing to do. So you want to soften the bend in your elbow and try and use a little bit more muscle control. Now, to use a bit more muscle control, tuck the elbows in. Imagine you are holding a pencil underneath each armpit. It's the same thing for you. Just tuck the elbows in and then just imagine you're holding a pencil underneath each armpit. Jana, I want you to lift up through your pelvic floor a little bit more. That's it. A little bit more control. Yeah? You okay? All right. So now we're going to bring the weight forward into the right hand, and we're going to attempt to lift the left hand off the floor and just rotate the wrist around. And then as you do that, you've got to lift up through your core. So let's do that again, but on the other side. Put your weight into the left hand. Now, take a breath, inhale, exhale, lift up through your pelvic floor, then peel the other hand off the floor and just rotate your wrist around. So it's a tiny movement, but actually there's an awful lot going on there because it's all between here to here, where your bump is. It's working all of those core muscles. So we're moving the upper body, but we're thinking about really good core control with the upper body. So you're sliding the shoulders down, you're thinking about the position of your head, but at the same time, you're thinking about lifting your pelvic floor up in order to control through your abdomen. So if I was to balance a glass of water on everyone's backs, that glass of water wouldn't tip over because you're keeping your back nice and still. And it's that engagement of the pelvic floor into the belly that's going to do that. That's going to support your spine. Do that for me a couple more times. You can just alternate in your own time. Is everybody okay? Yeah? Good question. Yeah, so what's happening is you're feeling the top part here working. So that's your oblique muscles kicking in. And what you need to do is come forward a little bit and then engage and think about lifting up to fifth floor with your pelvic floor. So come all the way up and try and get a little bit more internal control. You are going to shift a bit. So if you still feel it in those oblique muscles, that's fine, as long as underneath that you are lifting through. Yeah. And at this stage in your pregnancy, we shouldn't have too many problems with any what we call diastasis in the abdominal area. But I am going to be watching out for that with all of you, particularly if you are second, third, fourth time mum, because the gap can start to appear a little bit more quickly. So we're all around anything up to 23 weeks at the moment, but some of the girls here are in their second pregnancies, so we need to make sure that everything is in control. So you're really trying to lift all the way up with your pelvic floor, particularly if you're feeling a little bit vulnerable. Yeah, so have a think about that. Okay, so now let's have a release and go back into puppy dog. So you're just going to take the hands out in front, take the knees wide, and then release and come back down. And when you're in your puppy dog position, try to focus on your breath, but this time, you don't have to think about lifting your pelvic floor or doing anything like that. You can just relax into the position. So breathe, inhale, exhale, and relax. Should feel good. Everyone okay? Yeah? So do that for me one more time with your breath. Inhale and exhale. And if you can, see if you can breathe through your nose. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And just think about relaxing the jaw by placing the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And you're just getting, it's almost like a growling tone to your breath. And the reason I say that is because it gives a low resonance to your breath. And this is actually really important for birth. You want your breathing to have a low tone, a low resonance. And we know that natural birthing sounds tend to have this low resonance. So if you are practicing your breath now with that tone, it's going to actually help you through all the way up to the birth as well, and encourage you to use that type of breathing through the birth itself. And this is something that's very, very natural, and it's going to come out of you from nowhere. But if you are practicing low tones to your breath, and I like to use a breath which is a yogic style of breath, which is called Ujjayi breath, which is where you close the mouth, place the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and it's like as you inhale, you're breathing through the nose, and as you exhale, it's almost like you're doing that with the back of the throat. You're widening, but bringing the top of the roof of the mouth down towards the lower part of the mouth. So it's kind of like you're widening, but lowering the top of the roof of the mouth. So it's almost closing it down, but widening the back of the throat at the same time. And the air is going in and out through the nose, but you're kind of using that throat, that guttural feeling at the back of the throat to give that tone to your breath. So do try and do that because it can really, really help. I want the girls to come up now really slowly. If you've had your head down for a while, you might see stars, so just be really careful, particularly if your blood pressure is low. Everybody okay? Yeah? All right, and then we're going to just put one block between our knees and one block underneath our knees. And we're going to do our, what we've done before is a dumb waiter exercise, which is where we part the hands, but we're going to change the upper body action, and we're going to use that bow and arrow, which you have done before, but we're going to use that glute control and that core control as we do the movement. So take a nice big deep breath for me, inhale, exhale, and you're going to squeeze your buttocks, move your knees in on your block, and then just take the arms up, take a breath, inhale again, exhale, and then lift up through your pelvic floor into your belly and take the arm back behind you. Now make sure as you turn, you're lifting in through your core muscles. Inhale, come back. Exhale, squeeze the buttocks, moving on your block, lift up through your pelvic floor. And then do that again. Inhale, exhale, think about that core control, lifting through your center so your hips are staying facing the front as you turn your arm to the back. Do that for me one more time. Inhale, exhale, lift up through the pelvic floor and into the belly, and then release. And then just to finish off, let's not do the arm movement, but focus on the pelvic floor. And you should be doing your pelvic floor workouts every day, but let's just remind you of what you should be doing now. Again, tuck the tail, squeeze the buttocks, walking on your blocks, and then lift up from low pelvic floor all the way up to the top. So lift up first, second, third, fourth, fifth, up as high as you can go. So in this position, we've got the buttocks squeezed and we've got the inner thigh squeezed. So this should be the easiest place for you to feel your core muscles lifting up on the inside and then letting it relax and go down. Now let your buttocks go and let the block go, release in between your thighs. And then we're going to do that one more time. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale. Squeeze the buttocks, move your knees in on your block, and then lift up. Take another breath, lift up from the bottom and all the way up to fifth floor. So come up first, second, third, fourth, fifth is as high as you can go. So recognize that feeling of the pelvic floor lifting, all the while you've got your buttocks squeezed and your inner thighs squeezed as well. And you can do it. And make sure you are working your pelvic floor every single day. We're going to go back into our relaxed position, but this time we're going to do a stretch for the hip. So we're going to do what's called a pigeon stretch in yoga. Now, if you feel any discomfort or pain when you're doing this, I'm going to give you an alternative. So if you don't like this position, hold on and I'm going to show you an alternative. But if you feel fine in this position, Aditi, are you okay? Yeah? I want you to come down as far as your bump will allow into a pigeon stretch. Now, if this position is not right for you, I'm going to show you an alternative, which is where you just cross your right leg over your left, take your hands to the left, and stick your bottom out to the right, and you will get a stretch into your hip. And that's all you have to do. And then we're going to change sides. So change sides. So is this one more comfortable for you?
My bump just went.
Sophie was saying that her bump wasn't allowing her to do the pigeon stretch. So if your bump's in the way, you can do this one as well. Okay, so Jana and Aditi, you can do your pigeon stretch. So bring your left leg up underneath you. If not, you cross your left leg in front over the top of your right. Take your hands to the right and then stick your bottom out towards the left. And as you do that, you should feel a stretch into your hip. It's the same stretch you get in a pigeon stretch, it's just a slightly milder stretch. But for anyone who's suffering with pain in the hips, then that's a really good, the one that Sophie's doing right now is a really good alternative stretch for you to do. I hope you've enjoyed this Pilates workout. There's a lot more workouts. We combine the strength and the Pilates in some of our workouts, or you can do these separate ones that we've done today. Just make sure you do a combination of both, because it's really important that you get your strength and your cardio and you get that core focus and that stretch focus as well. I hope you've enjoyed this, and see you again very soon. I hope you enjoyed the workout, and if you did, please do like and subscribe to our channel so you can get more of our workouts, and also do comment below. We'd love to hear from you to find out how you got on and what sort of content you would like us to provide for you. So do make some comments below.